Welcome to the YouTube channel SKS Education Tech, a new channel on educational technology, sponsored and presented by Professor Satish Kumar Soni. Welcome to this video number LNT A1, Outcome-Based Assessment of Learning Outcomes for Quality Assurance. Definitions, measurement, assessment, and evaluation. Let us begin with measurement. Measurement is a process of measuring quantities using matching units. Example, quantities measured using standard units and calibrated instruments. Length in meter, temperature in degrees centigrade, pressure in kg per centimeter square, etc. Select valid and reliable instrument for accurate results. Measurement is 99+% objective, precise, and accurate, depending upon precision of instruments. Definitions, measurement, assessment, evaluation. Let us start with the assessment. Assessment is the process of first observing and perceiving metacognition of quality of performance of the assessed, and then awarding numeric marks or letter grade against declared quality criteria and conditions of human performance. Assessment is carried out to assess what a learner understands, prefers over other values, and is able to perform. Assessment is moderately objective, must try to maximize its objectivity by defining criteria and conditions of quality of performance to a greater extent. Always try to check for the reliability and validity of the instruments and processes before assessing the assessed. Definition of evaluation. It is the most broad concept and is inferred on the basis of analysis of many criteria, data, and indirect indicators of performances of live people, property, operational systems like educational institution, management policies, and departments, etc. It is obvious that objectivity depends a lot upon human perceptions and conceptions of the selected evaluators. So, evaluation can be highly subjective, time and resource consuming activity. However, if a proper checklist or rubric of evaluation criteria is made, subjectivity can be minimized. It takes time to optimize evaluation process, tools and instruments, etc. It may comprise of a number of measurements and assessment instruments and other processes. There is a need to check for validity and reliability of as many constituent parts or subsystems of the whole evaluation endeavor. Further, evaluation aspects are evaluation is a systematic assessment of the worth or merit of some object, person, or system. It is a systematic acquisition and assessment of information to provide useful feedback about some object, person, or system. Evaluation is a broader term that refers to all of the methods used to find out what happens as a result of using a specific intervention or practice. Examples: evaluate how the quality of learning by students, brand of the institute, and return on investment shall improve after NAAC and NBA accreditation and implementing philosophy of outcome-based education for 6 to 8 years. So this particular problem of evaluation may take lot of time, may take lot of number of persons, and the subjectivity of all these persons will accumulate and integrate to make it a very big subjective evaluation. So the criteria and conditions under which the assessment and measurement of quantities and qualities will take place must be made very clear. Let us now review few of the definitions of allied terms with assessment. Reliability. In simple terms, describe the repeatability and consistency of ability of test of producing consistent results within expected limits of variation. Validity of measurement, a tool, a test of in education is considered to be the degree to which the tool measures what it claims to measure. For example, a valid instrument for measurement of temperature is thermometer, because thermometer is meant to measure temperature in selected degrees of unit. Relevance. It is correlation with what is learned to what is intended to learn vis-a-vis what is required in the world of work. Learning may relate to curricula, personality, or work-life satisfaction. Transferability is a probability of an ability of learner acquired in an institution which can be repeated proficiently as an ability to perform in a new situation in workplace. This makes it possible to predict learning of POs on the basis of attainment of COs. In other words, mapping of COs with POs. Let us now try to understand the concept of reliability with the help of the game of hockey. You are seeing the hockey goal post, and any ball entering into the goal post is treated as a goal. So the total tolerance of variation of entry of the ball is the width of the hockey goal post. So this is the tolerance of reliability. Let us take that one of the players is standing on the edge, and he may be an invalid hockey player, but he has given 3 shots, and all the 3 shots balls have entered into the goal post. So the 3 attempts and 3 goals have been done. So this is treated as more reliable performance as compared to another person, another hockey player standing in the central position and making 4 attempts, and out of the 4 attempts only 1 ball enters the goal post. So only 1 goal in 4 attempts. Reliable shooting by unreliable shooting by a valid hockey player. Whereas in earlier case, 3 goals in 3 attempts, reliable shooting by an invalid hockey player. So, in short, reliability simply means producing consistent results. Definition of allied terms with assessment 2. Attainment. Attainment is a mathematical concept. It is nothing but the ratio between number of students who have scored better than the benchmark divided by total number of students appeared in the test multiplied by 100. So attainment in percentage, number of students who have scored better than benchmark divided by the total number of students appeared in the test. Correlation grade scale. 3-point scale, low, medium, and high, with nominal values 1, 2, or 3 respectively. 5-point scale, very low, low, medium, high, very high, with nominal values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Grades do not follow maths. Grades are ranges of values or numbers and cannot undergo mathematical operations like minus, plus, division, and multiplication. However, their nominal values can be operated mathematically. Why it is not possible? Because grades are variable numbers, not fixed quantity numbers. Avoid presenting grades by numbers to avoid mathematical confusion. 0.5 to 1.5 is the range of grade low and nominal value of 1. So if the nominal value is 1, then the range of the grade may vary from 0.5 to 1.5. Classification of the assessment process. Criteria of classification, types of assessment, and description. Stages of assessment. Formative or summative. Formative when students are learning, and summative when students have already learned and learning has completed. Status or mode of assessment. Direct or indirect. Direct assessment, students perform the intended task. Indirect, students perform some interrelated task. Probability label. Diagnostic assessment, prediction of high probability, and prognostic assessment, prediction of with moderate probability. Classification of assessment based on stages of learning. 1. Formative assessment. Such assessment take place during the process of formation or construction of learning. So examples are quizzes, surprise test, short viva voce, tutorial work, assignments. Rubrics based assessment of 4 or 5 formative stages of a project work. So this is all formative assessment. It provides feedback and information during the instructional process while learning is taking place and while learning is occurring. Formative assessment measures students' progress, but it can also assess your own progress as faculty member and use students' exit survey of opinions related to learning. Primary focus of formative assessment is to identify weaker areas of learning that may need improvement and support. Summative assessment. Summative assessment takes place after learning has been completed. It provides information and feedback that sums up the teaching and learning process. Typically, no more formal learning is taking place at this stage, other than incidental learning, which might take place through the completion of projects and assignments. Use for all outcomes. Such assessment takes place at the end of learning term, midterm test 2, end of the semester test, end of the unit test, end of the CO test, end of 1 hour session question answer. Rubrics-based assessment of final stage of project work, components, R report, logbook, presentation, defense, viva voce, etc. These are all examples of summative assessment. Content-focused assessment and graduate attributes focused assessment. Then classification of assessment based on mode of learning. 2. Direct, based on sensing the performance of assessed. Written question answer, single response, short questions, valid and relevant to COs and POs, content and attributes based on the instruments, rubrics, multiple response, very short questions, 2 to 4 choices, assertion reason type, oral question answer or viva voce, non-visual or visual viva voce, indirect, based upon opinions expressed by beneficiaries or stakeholders, academic and facilities related, entry and exit surveys of students, annual surveys of alumni and employers, annual surveys of parents and community around, exit surveys of faculty and staff, exit surveys of finishing school and academic learning environment maintenance officials. In case of classification based on probability of assessment outcomes, there are two types of the assessment: diagnostic assessment, which are highly probable, you can predict, and prognostic assessment, moderately probable, it can happen, it will happen, and it can happen. That is how the two things are different. Diagnostic assessment can help you identify your students' current knowledge of a subject, their skill sets and capabilities, and to clarify misconceptions before teaching takes place. Knowing students' strengths and weaknesses accurately can help you better plan what to teach and how to teach it. Example, retest written or oral. Use in diagnosis of strengths and weaknesses of students of multi-point entry and exit programs. Prognostic assessment, it is moderately probable. A prognostic evaluation expands the findings of the assessment with analysis abilities of a person. Potentials with a further dimension, the future development of concerned person as well as the necessary conditions, time frame, and limits. Used in instruments of faculty appraisal and personality development of graduates. Used for qualitative assessment and assessing non-core program outcomes. Let us now consider quality aspects of assessment instruments. We will try to identify the criteria of quality testing and conditions under which the quality testing will occur. Quality assurance criteria of midterm test question paper. The criteria may be validity and relevance to course outcomes and program outcomes, levels of learning low, medium or high, choices and coverages, language and visual communication, answers, rubrics or model answers or hints for scoring answers. Compliance with guidelines, formats and specifications. Levels of learning, weightages, choices and numbers. Total questions and time. Quality assurance criteria of assignments, classroom assignments, laboratory assignments and fieldwork assignments. Format for group assignment. Title, course outcomes, program outcomes, the task, resources and constraints, leadership, teamwork processes and facilitators, observations and reports, assessment weights, and what is more important, the feedback from the students, their feeling, what we learned from the task experience. Let us come to the format for individual assignments. Title, COs and POs, task, resources and constraints, processes and facilitators, observation and reports, assessment weights, and most important, the feedback from the students. Quality assurance criteria of field visit and internships. Format for group visit. Title: COs and POs, Task and Outcomes, Resources and Constraints, Leadership, Teamwork, Processes, External and Internal Facilitators, Observations, Short Reports, Presentations, Assessment Weights, What we learned from visit and experience. Format for individual internship. Title: COs and POs, Task, Outcomes, Resources, Constraints, Leadership, Teamwork, Processes, External and Internal Facilitators, Observations, Illustrated Reports, Presentation to defend inferences, Assessment Weights, and what I learned from the internship experience, the feedback from the student. Assessment rubrics are rating scales. Type 1, Score, Scope of rubrics, specific and generic. Specific rubrics are meant for a very narrow specific task, whereas generic rubric is applicable to the attribute which can be applied to many situations, like leadership can be applied to any sector of activity. Type 2, structures of the rubrics: checklist, holistic rubric, checklist rubric, analytic rubric. General attributes and use of rubrics. Uses both formative and diagnostic assessments. Uses both summative and prognostic assessment. Best suited for direct assessment. Thanks for viewing with interest. Please go to YouTube new channel of Professor S.K. Soni on education technology. SKS Education Tech, to view more useful video programs on education technology.